terrible situation to be in.
Yeah. All right, game number 2 on Triton in the top left. As the Red Zerg now down 1, he is Reynor.
And down here in the bottom right-hand side, in the blue, representing Jin Green Wings, it is Rogue.
I'm trying to get some updates on the map calculation, guys, as we go along, as the other matches are played. It's still a little bit cloudy is what I'm going to say here. I think might be able to decipher. But that's, I mean, I know Reynor is probably has been told some very accurate stats when this started, but he doesn't know how the other series are going. And they're
yeah,
pretty
absolutely.
important.
All the series have lined up to start at the same time. And I mean, honestly, there's only one target for Reynor, because with map score, it comes down to what the scores are in other series going on simultaneously right now.
Yeah.
I mean, for him, he's not thinking about calculating the numbers and what he needs to do. Reynor, he's a consummate professional, as is Rogue, and they say, hey, I'm going into this match, I have one goal, and that's to win as one-sidedly as possible. Already dropping a map is a bit frustrating here for Reynor. Obviously, for Rogue, smooth sailing. It's just going to be about winning the series, and I think, it's right to bring up, we're all wondering where those standings are going to be. It's in the back of the players' heads, but it's their job to kind of zone that out and just focus on what they've got to do here in each map. I
do wonder how much Reynor was able to zone out. I mean, he did not want to tap out of that last game, but he was constantly taking his hands off the keyboard, grinning to himself, and I feel like it came on the forefront of his mind at some point there, when he could actually think about things. But that was also a bit of Rogue bringing Reynor's game to him. I mean, obviously these guys can all play different styles, but Reynor has been identified with the Ling Muta style.
Yeah, there was definitely room for a bit of damage to be taken. Reynor was way up on workers. He could have lost 5 or 10, stabilized, and it would have been fine. He would have been up an upgrade still. But it got out of control. Once you lose all your queens and you're on the back foot there, things do get worse and worse. But here, Triton, another large map choice.
Yep.
And one where it is looking like both players going to be going for third bases and Zergling speed again. Neither of them pulling off gas. So, yeah, just Ling Bane. I mean, this is the way to play. In my opinion, on these big maps, the mobility of those Zerglings, how long it takes Roaches to get across the map, I think this is just a far superior way to playing than the gasless wall-off builds.
Yeah, that really seemed to have fallen out, didn't it? I mean, there's some tricks behind that, so they occasionally pop up, but as a macro game, I haven't seen that in a while.
Yeah, I saw Sue pull one out. Might have been on this map, actually, against Armani before.
Okay.
Other than that, I think that's probably the only time I've actually seen it in a ZvZ here. I was surprised to see it on this map. I was thinking maybe on a smaller map like Ephemeron, where the Roach push has a bit more weight to it, a little bit more scare factor. But, I would not be surprised to see both players play very similar openings to last game. If so, I don't think we'll see Rogue go for the skipping the upgrade. I think we'll see Rogue actually use that Evolution Chamber this game.
I'd say so as well. Yeah, Triton only slightly shorter than Eternal Empire, especially because they will be expanding what we'd call defensively compared to the other races, maybe. But it's going to take a little while to get over there, but Rogue still hit that timing that just very closely worked out. We do have a Roach Warren versus a Lair started. I imagine they both will also start, the other one soon enough.
Remember, there is that +1 range attack Roach kind of Ling Bane attack, which people do sometimes do recently.
Yeah.
With the Lair being so delayed, there is that. That's on the cards for Rogue. Shut down the early scout from Reynor. And we'll just have to keep our eye on if he builds a few extra Overlords and then makes a ton of Roaches at once.
Yeah, but the Overlords are being built, right? But the Roach Warren in the main is actually kind of a big deal. That almost never happens, right? It's always at the wall to literally help out the wall. And it can be deceiving, literally we've already gone over that. But the fact that it's in the main and then he makes another one?
Oh, yeah, I was about to say it would be really cool if you make a fake Roach Warren at the front. Rogue here, Big Brain Gaming. He's not even using the Evo. Does he stop? Ooh, didn't even fake the upgrade there, but I don't think Reynor had time to notice. I mean, you really need a few seconds to notice the animation there. Reynor's still droning. He does not have a lot of information right now. And here comes a bit of Ling Bane. So really what Rogue's looking for is distraction here. This Ling Bane is just to distract Reynor, keep him droning, keep him busy. And he's going to follow up with a huge Roach Ling Bane attack. The Roach is starting to rally out here. Spinecrawler on the way. Roach's Ling Bane's being made for Reynor. This is a gigantic attack from Rogue.
Yeah, he accidentally started burning burrow. That's not what you want. You want as many units as possible, as much minerals and gas can afford into roaches, and then spine crawlers if you can afford them as well. It looks like some of them will finish, but he's got to hold the line. He's got to hope the banelings don't really get amazing connections on basically anything. It is all coming down to this, as Rogue is being the aggressor. He wants to get the quick 2-0. Reynor has that concave, but where are the spine crawlers to help out?
Got to keep those banelings alive. I think you've got to keep at least one or two of these banelings. There's always a Ling Flood behind this, and you got to watch out for that here as Reynor. Roach is pulling in behind the wall. That's a good pullback. 2 spines at the third base. Not going to take part in this fight. Oh, he's got to keep them. There we go. One of them's moving forward. The Roach Warren's getting focused here. Reynor pulling very far back. Too far, I would say. His units are up in his main base.
He does have another spine crawler to try and bring forward, but that is so many units here on the collective outside. And actually, +1, not even affect this fight. It's going to be denied by 5 seconds. The drone will try and save it, but it is denied. The drones have got to try and save this. They're going to pull into the roaches, so they're actually, the spine crawler is now affecting the match, but is that going to be enough?
Banelings on the right-hand side as well. If they can find the Zerglings, that'll be huge. Those Banelings coming in from the right-hand side, looking for the Zerglings, but a good disengage from Rogue. Looks to isolate the spine crawlers. These drones still buffering for Reynor. Is it going to be enough? He's down 5 workers. He's losing a ridiculous amount of mining time. And these Roaches, Ravagers, and Zerglings continuing to get work done for Rogue.
And behind this, Rogue has started his own +1. His Lairs also started. Reynor going to go for a bit of a Hail Mary here and trying to replace his Roach Horn as well. Rogue does pull back, so this is not the end of the game yet, but Rogue just got a pretty good lead.
All right, we got Lings wet branching their way around the left-hand side for Reynor. Going to use their mobility factor. Banelings Roach is going to stay on the defense. He's going to try and recover in the droning. I think that's a good move here. Of course, trailing by about 5 workers. Definitely unfortunate. And remember, that upgrade never kicked in for the Roaches, which is such a pain for Reynor. His Roaches not going to benefit from the ability to 2-shot Zerglings. They're going to take that extra 3rd shot every single time.
I wonder how much Rogue is anticipating this kind of desperate Spire. He is going for a lot of Roaches, possibly trying to hit with that +1 and just nip it in the bud, basically. There's only so many mutas that Reynor could be able to afford, and they only do so much damage to mass Roach Ling Floods. I mean, does he even actually have that lair? He never started Roach Speed. He's going to try and win right here again.
It's round 2.
Yeah.
Round 2 of the same thing. He's got a +1 upgrade for the Roaches. It's going to kick in. That's it. Wants to get rid of this Overlord before he shows it. And you can see that lovely corrosive bile takes out the Overlord, and it's go time. I think Rogue here, with these last pack of Roaches coming out, +1 on the way, he's going to flood across this map. The Mutalisks have just started. That is so late. This force is already knocking on the doorstep, and Rogue looking to knock Reynor down and severely limit his chances of getting out of this grip.
I mean, he even got supply blocks right there for Reynor. Not that a couple of more Roaches or a couple more Mutas would have been enough. This Ling little run by is not even enough to bother Rogue. Actually, the Queen just deals with it no problem. That is a 40 supply difference, and while yes, Roaches and Lings do not shoot up, it'll take forever for 5 Mutas to clean this up.
All right, going for the 3rd base first of all. Not a bad snipe. We'll take it out, but it has to do more. Rogue going to push up into the base. The Banelings, a nice hit to start things off there for Reynor. The Muta's actually starting to do some damage right now. Some good corrosive biles landing. And as the Roaches force their way forwards, the Banelings coming in big, taking out these Zerglings. The Mutas are actually doing a great job here for Reynor.
It's very important that Reynor actually held a line as opposed to letting Roaches into his main and natural. But this actually might be the start of a comeback as Reynor is holding on to the main ramp now, letting the Mutas do whatever damage they can. His drones have been evacuated, so he's still holding somewhat strong.
The corrosive biles are so good on that ramp. He's using them to just buy so much time. Those corrosive biles, these Ravagers that Reynor invested in, a great emergency response here, and manages to keep him alive in this game.
He is alive. He's going to bring back the drones immediately to the natural to try and get as much optimal mining as possible. His 3rd base was destroyed easily, but it was a necessary sacrifice, and now Reynor has to try and do something extreme with the mutas he has. He's no longer investing into him, it looks like. He does have enough to retake that hatchery, but that'll be a long time before his mining is even efficient.
I almost want to see a Hydra Den for Reynor. I'd love to see something wild like rushing to lurkers here. There's a few different options. He's going to go for the Evolution Chamber. He's going to add a few more Mutalisks here. And Roach Speed is on the way. A few Queens being rebuilt. Reynor, he's making Banelings on the left-hand side. He wants to do something more here. He knows that Rogue has that 3rd base up and running. And even though Rogue is not actually building more workers, he's making Roaches and Queens. And that is a Nidus Worm in the production tab. It's going to be round 3 soon enough.
I mean, kudos to Reynor for holding out to round 3, right? But I know some people in chat are maybe rolling their eyes like, oh, very cool, Nidus from Rogue, right? But it's absolutely the right call. He has a good number of Queens to take on any Muta presence. And while Reynor I mean, this happens like a decent amount, right? The Mutas barely hold on, and the next kill is going to be the Nidus, so Reynor might be anticipating this, but how do you ever stop it?
As Reynor right now, I'd be worried about the frontal push as well. It's time to actually kill your own creep tumors. They're going to help your opponent out more than you. And this creep, you know, it's almost connected in the middle of the map, to be honest. His creep tumors are actually going to help these queens a lot, but it's a bit too late now to get rid of those. And Reynor does not have a lot of time to respond. He's making roaches. He's going to try to pick off this first Nidus worm.
Yeah, it's going to be picked off. Can't transfuse that. But the queens, as you were talking about, are now on Reynor's creep, and that is helping. The roaches actually just flew past the Mutas as well, and only a handful of roaches for Reynor to stop them from bringing it to the main base. Drones will have to be pulled into this. Mutas doing some extra good damage here as the queens are taking a little while to come forward.
Nice move on the drones. It was a hold position, so they're not being focused, but now they start to fall in droves. Reynor sending them quickly back to mine. The Mutas going for the roaches. More roaches and Mutas building here for Reynor. He's desperately trying to hang on by a fingernail. He takes out most of the roaches, but the Queen's still standing strong, and they have a ton of transfusers.
And now the Nidus worm is up. He would have heard that cry if he didn't see it with his own creep tumors. And spore colos are on the way. They can't be transfused right now, but the Queens have to die now. And there's the micro there. Roach is trying to talk about it as well. Can Reynor hold for the third time?
Just short of the Muta count that he needed to one-shot the Queens. Because they weren't able to do that, the transfusers did land, but the Muta's going to take them out. The problem is those spores have now finished. The Queens say, okay, the spores are here, let's pop back out. The roaches threatening the economy. The Mutas need to do something about the roaches, but at the same time, the anti-air is setting up inside his own base.
Oh, Reynor knows that it's game. GG is called, and Rogue takes a very, very important 2-0.